Hello class, and welcome to week 3's second assignment. I know a number of you had a problem with this assignment, and so I wanted to make a video to show you how to do it. We had to kind of create a way where there was no way, so I had to download a new version of Windows or an old version of Windows and do a bunch of workarounds. So we're going to do this assignment a little different than what's published. That's why I want to make this video, is to show you that essentially what you're going to do is do the capture on your machines using your dump it and the FTK imager, and then you're going to import my memory dumps and use those in SIFT to do the actual project on both parts 1 and 2 of the project. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll first need to adjust our VM setup a little bit. The first thing we need to do is to map a drive. This will set it up so that you can get the shared files back and forth real easily. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to Share Folders. You're going to map as a network drive, always enabled, and add any path you want. I created a folder on my D drive called Shared. Just map to that one. It doesn't really matter where you put it as long as you have some space. So you're going to do the same thing on the SIFT workstation. We'll do VM, Settings, Options, Shared Folders, always enabled, add the path, hit OK. There is another step that we have to do in SIFT, but let me first show you the last workstation, which is this is the old Windows 10 that I had to go back and get. Basically, I had to find this version of Windows 10. So I did the same thing there. Just did VM, Settings, Options, Shared Folders, always enabled, and I mapped that one. And the key there is the map as network drive in the Windows guest. And you can see that's what this is. This D drive is the mapped VMware share. Okay, so like I said, there's one more step you have to take inside of the SIFT workstation. So we'll log in there, forensic. Okay. Okay, so the step I had to take here was to I had to actually do, because your default is going to be here, right? So you had to do mkdir share. I can't because I already have it. And then once you have that folder, what you're going to do is you're going to fuse that folder to your other share. Right? So to do that, you're going to run. Oh, sorry, 1 second. That's what I have to do. CD share D. Fuse them to your two folders. You're going to use this VMware fuse command. You go back and just paste in this path. Okay. Okay, now obviously I cannot do that because I already have one mounted, but that's what you would do. Okay, and now you have all the stuff in place. So you can ls, you see now you can see the shared folder. So now cd shared ls, and you can see that there's a raw folder. That's where I'm going to put all my stuff, is in the raw. So cd raw ls. I actually already have the 2 dumps done. That's the file that I'm going to put up for you, is a zip file. That's going to be on my Google Drive, and I'll put a link there so you can get that, download that, and analyze that. So, but first let me show you how to do the actual creation of the files. Like I said, you won't be able to use those files for your project, but you can capture the memory and understand how it works, right? So we're going to use 2 tools. We're going to use the Access Imager FTK. We're going to do capture memory. We're going to make a path. It can be anywhere. I'm just going to put it on my desktop. I already have one there, but that's okay. Just call it up once. It's going to create it on the desktop. You'll see it run. And if you do this on your own workstation and then you import the thing into the SIFT workstation, I'll show you in a second why it won't work or why there's a problem or what I think is the problem anyways. Okay, and then we're going to use the dump it to do the other piece. So I also loaded the dump it onto my Google Drive. I'm going to put both those links again in the post I'm going to make for y'all in the classroom. Okay, so now I run dump it, and that is going to dump the physical memory, the RAM. It's going to put it there in my shared folder. I'm going to say yes. It was successful. I'm going to take that file, so I see it. I'm going to move that into, well, I won't actually move that in there because I already have the file that I was using before, so I'll just delete it. But you would, that's how you would create the file. Now, once you get it in there, then you can go back to SIFT. Okay, so now that you're back in SIFT, this is where the volatility begins to, using volatility becomes the thing, right? So take a look at the cheat sheet, the volatility cheat sheet that's on your SIFT workstation, and you can see the first thing you need to do is get the image info. Alright, so we're going to do that for each of the files first. So we'll do clear, so we get a clear screen here. Vol.py space dash f. Oh, but before I do that, I need the file name. I'm sorry. So I'm going to take the raw file first. Alright, so copy vol.py dash f space this file name. Okay. Image info. Okay, and that should come back telling me the profile that I should be using. Okay. And it does take just a minute, you know, maybe a full minute or 2 minutes to do this. It is searching through all the profiles. So you see where it says suggested profile. I can't be sure what will happen on your end depending on the version of Windows you did this from. But when I did this with the news version of Windows, it said it couldn't find a profile, and that's what I think. That's why I think the problem was. So that's why I went back and got the older version of Windows and then did this dump for y'all. Okay, so we did that on the first one. Now let's do that on the same thing on the second one. That's memdump.mem. Memdump.mem. Okay. Alright, so now you can see the image information on this one too. You'll also see again the suggested profile. So what we're going to do next is actually use the environmental command, right? We're going to set the environment for volatility. This will make it so that you are always, so that your volatility knows to use this profile, so you don't have to put anything extra in. You can even put the path in there as an environmental variable too, but because we have the two files, you probably don't want to do that right just yet. So here in the viewer, by the way, you can see that's this command using environmental variables, and you're going to switch the export volatility underscore profile to that. Okay, that's going to set that. Now you can actually go back and look, like for example, at the memdump.mem. We can look at PS list, right? And that will give us a chance to begin to work down through these lists, right? So that's going to give us an overview of what was running at the time we ran this. Okay. Now you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff running. And make a note here too, you can see this FTK imager was running as a process, as was, oh, here it's running again. I thought there's, on and one of the other ones it shows the dump too, but dump you can see, but you can see why it's critical that if you're doing this forensic investigation, you really think about what you would use, so you don't confuse anything else or add anything else to the investigation. Essentially, you keep the image, keep the evidence as pristine as possible. Okay, so now we're going to go do the same thing with our other image. Okay, guest list, and that should come back not exactly the same. You see in this one, you can see the dump exe, so that might be an example of something that was different between the two. So now you could use these different processes to find the differences, right? You can analyze it with the DLLs and the handles. You can kind of work through the different PIDs. You can try the PS scan. Let's try the PS scan. And you can do that against each of them and then find the same, see if you see the same thing or if there's any differences between the two methods of capture. That's essentially what we're trying to figure out, is did the dump it version of the output or the FTK provide different data, one from the other, that you can see here in the volatility or not. So, okay, so that should do it for this piece of the assignment. What you'll need to do is, like I said, you'll go to my Google Drive, which I'll put a link in the post I'll make for the classroom. I'll have the dump it and the mem dump there, and you can get both of them. And then you'll just do it exactly as I just did it. And you should be able to then essentially perform the analysis of each image and compare the differences in the captured data from each tool. Right? So that's the data between volatility, right, which was used